Okay, my voice didn't fail me that bad. I think I'm like a little bit croaky, but I think you can still hear me. So I decided to do another one. If the last chapter's really short, I might do all 3 tonight, because that is literally all we've got left. There's 31 chapters in this book. It's chapter 30 now. 31's the last chapter. And then it takes us to the 3rd book in our trilogy. So, Tower at the End of Time, chapter 30, author Amy Sparks, 2nd book in our trilogy. It's been the hopscotch competition. It has been intriguing. Gazillion is still out there. He's still on a bit of a revenge spout. He's still not someone to be trusted. They haven't found him yet. Spoon is still unconscious in Flabbergast's arms. Eric is out of the tower, and they're all really happy about it. Nine thinks she saw the ghostly image of her mum, but her mum was about to tell her something, and we didn't quite hear what her mum wanted to finish saying. So it's still a little bit of a guessing game. Let's see what happens in chapter 30. The golden, fiery markings of the hopscotch grid faded into nothing, leaving just white painted lines on the ground. Noise roared around them. Fireworks burst into numbers in the air. Flags waved. 9 saw Gazillion dashing over the finishing line by the judges' table, where the 3 judges sat. She scowled as he tossed his hair and flung wide his arms in victory. Witches floated by, chairs rang out as witches and wizards were all reunited. 9 saw the little sapphire skull still there on the ground. She glanced around her, picked it up quickly and tucked it inside her satchel, touching her music box as she did so. Her music box. Oh, those last words. Just remember one thing. What was it? What was that one thing? Her heart ached for her mother's unfinished words, as if something so very important was being held just out of sight, forever gone, forever unknown. Flabbergast stood beside her, still cradling Spoon. "Madam," he hissed urgently, "I think it unwise to linger in case they find out about the tower." Hundreds, maybe thousands of wizards and witches milled about in the hopscotch area, some seeming very confused. 9 looked towards the judges. The message witch was staring in disbelief at the scene in front of her. She began frantically searching through the scroll of unbreakable rules, presumably to check how many had just been broken. She unrolled armfuls of parchment until, with a defeated sigh, she tossed the entire scroll over her shoulder, where it landed with a satisfying thud. "Come on," said Flabbergast, tugging 9's arm. "To the house, madam." They began pushing through the crowd. "Attention, everybody, for very important announcement." "Everybody, attention," droned the familiar voice from the red urn, whizzing through the air in a slightly confused and panicked manner. 9 looked over her shoulder as they pushed on towards the house. Ophelia stood up suddenly, dramatically swishing her emerald cloak back over her shoulders. "Well, this is a most remarkable situation," she boomed, gesturing to the packed arena. "Not only do I declare Gazillion the Unstoppable the winner of this year's Hopscotch Championship for returning first from the tower at the end of time, but also I bestow upon him a special award for rescuing and returning our lost competitors." The crowd burst into deafening applause. "What?" said 9 and Flabbergast in unison. Flabbergast frowned as Gazillion raised his arms above his head in victory. "Are you going to let him get away with that?" "Yes, madam," said Flabbergast, turning towards the house. "I am. Besides, I've rather lost the taste for hopscotch." 9 watched as Ophelia leaned over the table and presented the deceitful wizard with a trophy. She watched as he whispered something into Ophelia's ear, and the witch's eyes lit up. But as Gazillion turned round, there was that same flicker of fear in his eyes. Then he stared at the crowd, quickly plastered on a smile, and waved his trophy in the air to another enthusiastic roar. "Well, thank you all for coming," said Ophelia, hastily pushing back her chair. "Farewell." "That's strange," said 9, watching as the white-haired witch disappeared into the crowd into a flurry. "Madam, it's hopscotch," said Flabbergast, pushing onwards. "It's meant to be strange." "No, your aunt," said 9. "Madam, she's family," said Flabbergast. They are always strange. I mean, he's not wrong there. But she and Gazillion seemed to be up to something. There was a swooshing noise behind them. Nine and Flabbergast whirled around. "Oh, what joy awaits me," gloated Gazillion, appearing beside them. "Informing the Hopscotch Committee about you ruining the tower whilst I managed to save all these poor souls. I doubt you'll ever play hopscotch again. Until our next meeting, Flabbergast the Unworthy," and he swished away up into the skies. "Can't wait," Flabbergast said through gritted teeth. "Oh, the house!" There it was, red as a strawberry, shaking uncontrollably. One of the balconies was hanging off, and a sickly yellow-green steam burped out of the chimney every few seconds. As Flabbergast charged towards the house, knocking furiously on the front door, Nine looked up. Bonehead was at one of the windows, his bones all jiggling around with the force of the house's shaking. He gave a wobbly, jiggly double thumbs up. Nine waved back. "Poor house," said Eric, his ears and tail drooping as he followed Flabbergast. Something small crashed into her knees, and Nine jumped and looked back. "Oh," said a plump gargoyle with a gruff voice. "You again." Her voice was exactly the same as it had been on the door. The frown, the oval eyes, the bulbous nose, but now she was a mottled grey colour and had wings and chunky short legs. "You kept your promise. I'm impressed." She looked sharply at Nine. "Thanks." "A promise is a promise," said Nine, as Flabbergast yelled and hammered on the front door. "What will you do now?" "Well," said the gargoyle, in a funny old way, "the Asking Stone did answer me question. After years of being stuck in a wooden door, I ain't going back on a wall, watching the world as a waterspout. Thank you very much. I am off to explore." The house hiccuped and the windows rattled. The hanging balcony drooped a little bit more. "This your house? Bit of a state in it?" Nine sighed. "Tickling will stop the hiccups and let us in, but how? How on earth do you tickle a house?" "Blimey," said the gargoyle. "Don't you even know that? I tell you, when you spend your life sitting on the walls of buildings, you can always guess rightly where a ticklish spot is." Eric came lolloping back towards them. "Can you guess where this house is ticklish?" Nine said, her hope rising. "Course! Obvious, ain't it?" said the gargoyle. "But I ain't got anything to tickle it with." The gargoyle stopped as a feather duster was stuffed in her face. It was held in the hand of a beaming troll. "Eric Fix." Nine smiled. "Eric Fix." Nine watched as the gargoyle took the feather duster, put it between her teeth, and started climbing up the wall of the house. Flabbergast stopped pounding on the door and watched in amazement as the gargoyle swiftly and easily clambered up the brickwork, scaling a wooden tower pillar, propping up the conservatory before reaching above her for the ivy-like plant that crawled up the wall. From there, she headed for a little turret with an oval window jutting out on the right side of the wonky building. She removed the feather duster from her teeth and she tickled the bricks. A little giggle came out of the chimney. Then there was silence. No hiccups. No shaking. Just glorious, glorious silence. And that takes us to chapter 31.